Okay, you guys, the wait is finally over. All of you RuPaul's Drag Race fans, it seems like we've been waiting for 2 years, but it's just been several months basically that we've been waiting. Season 6 is finally here, and here I am with my take on everything. Um, I'm just saying. My name is James Caldwell. Season 6, Ru always gets started with a bang. She always has some Ruism that she's doing. So this time, this bitch is actually taken, she has 14 contestants. She's taken 7 and given you 7 of the contestants on the first episode. So here we go with the show. I'm looking, there's 7 contestants, and I have to say, I was not all that impressed. I really wasn't. We have this child, her name is Adore Delano. She's from California. Um, she kind of, when I looked at her, she's young. Um, she's kind of cockeyed. Is the first thing that I actually noticed. She had this green hair, and the child was cockeyed. Not real impressed with her again, but she's young, so we'll see what she has to offer coming up. Then there's a child. Her name is called Ben Delacreme. You know what? She's older, Queen. She's pretty though. She looks like Michelle Visage a lot. She looks like an old movie star. She's not bad at all. Her personality is a little bit aggravating, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. She kind of reminds me of like an old B-rated movie, and she's like that character that keeps with the jokes, and you're like, girl, really, come on. But pretty. She's a pretty girl. Gia Gunn is she's Asian. She's some type of an Asian queen. Very pretty. She's very pretty, but my first impression, I wanted to punch her face the rest of the way in. She, this child is literally, she's obviously had a nose job. She's had her lips done. Her cheeks have been pumped. Um, Real aggravating. And she's real stuck on that pretty, and then she wants to give airhead cunt. So yeah, she's a bit much. She's a bit much. I think she's gonna be around for a while. Around for a while. But her nose job is just so obvious. I don't even know why she did that. But anyway, the girl, she's pretty. She's a pretty girl. But she is aggravating. Like I said, I would like to punch her face the rest of the way in. And that's just from the very first hour. So I can imagine by the time we get to the end of this, I'll probably want to strangle that little girl, but whatever. Laganja Estranja is she's a tall, thin, blonde little club kid is basically what she is. She walked to the door, falling in a dip and carrying on and be a real. She's too loud. She's too extra. She's gonna be aggravating as well. But again, she's young, so they have time to grow out of some of these things. And I think when they watch themselves back, they'll kind of stop. But this Laganja child, she does a lot of she's just gayisms. It's just too much. They're talking to her. She's like, okay, all right. And that really gets on my nerves. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Because all that extra gay over the top kind of irritates me. And it really irritates me when we're doing it and it's a drag queen. What is that about? You're a drag queen. Calm down. Or are you going for the world's biggest fag? I don't know what that whole thing is. I just don't see that. I've never seen that. It's always aggravated me in drag queens when they do the whole, okay, yes, God, and all that. It was just too much. And she's real loud with it. The next contestant is April Carry On. And she's a Puerto Rican queen. Um, she has the potential to actually be very pretty, as most Puerto Rican queens do. But for right now, as she presented herself, this child basically looks like a little Puerto Rican boy. When I first seen her, I looked and said, "Go Diego, go Diego, go Diego, go," because that's what she looked like. She didn't look like Dora. She looked like Diego. So, but again, she has the potential to be a very pretty queen, and I think they'll, as the weeks go on, they're going to, she's going to be there, and I think they'll break her kind of out of that because she right now just kind of looks like just an androgynous little boy. Kelly Mantle, who is, she's 37 years old. She she's ugly. There's really no way for me to put that, I don't really say that often about people, but she's an ugly man. She um is very OB rated movie kind of thing. When she actually looked more like a woman out of drag than she does in drag. When she was out of drag, she looked like a lesbian. So it's crazy. In drag, she looked like Dawn Knotts, and then out of drag, she looked like Lily Tomlin. It was the weirdest thing. She's not a cute girl at all. But I don't know. She didn't do anything for me. But her name is Kelly Mantle. And then the last contestant that they debuted, her name is Vivacious. 40 years old from New York. Uh, she's a mess. She's a mess. She's a black girl, and she just is a mess. She's basically like a New York club kid, very dated, very outdated. Um, I didn't get life off of her at all. She was a messy as far as I'm concerned. But we'll see what happens with her. Rue, naturally, Rue always looks really good. She's giving away $100,000 this year again. What I will say, when she did her she-bell, she's got she-bell thing, Rue's hair was flawless. But that's Rue. You know what? Rue, I swear, that queen has the baddest wigs in the game. Baddest wigs in the game. The first challenge they did a mini challenge, which was they were jumping off of a ramp into a bucket, basically, of sponges. And, that whole crazy thing they do. Mike Ruiz was doing the actual photos. Um, it was interesting. It was interesting. I laughed the whole time because they were just funny, breaking their necks, jumping off of there. And the mini challenge actually was won by that Laganja Estranja child. She did good with her picture, keeping everything together. So that was cute. So she won the first mini challenge. Then they moved on to the main challenge, which was a box of junk that was actually inspired by one of the popular television shows now. They had done like the Kardashians and Honey Boo Boo Child and I'm trying to think. Game of Thrones, and just that kind of thing. And they got these boxes and they had basically junk. It was junk, and they had to turn it into a high fashion look for the runway. Uh, I got really bothered at first. The Vivacious, the New York child, the oldest child, 40 years old, she got a box which was Game of Thrones. And Rue, I was real upset by this, but Rue basically came out doing her version of Tim Gunn from Project Runway and had this child change her idea. When Rue came around, she said she had an idea that she wanted to do an actual evening gown and she wanted to put a dragon on her shoulder. It was an actually had an actual dragon figure. It was like a action figure or whatever. She wanted to put on her shoulder. And I said, okay, no problem. Now that kind of actually did fit with kind of her thing because she referred to herself as living art. So that kind of went with her theme of her character and who she is. Rue basically kind of talked her out of it because he gave her very much a maybe not. She came up with this whole other look. I don't know what the hell went on with the look, but the bitch came out. She had on a platinum blonde wig. She's as black as I am. She looked like a fly in a cup of buttermilk. She had this wig on. The bitch put it on backwards. So it had the shag coming down on her forehead. Then the bitch put a headband on it. She looked ridiculous. And that was RuPaul's fault. I didn't care for that at all. And she had like feathers going on and some other shit. And the fabric was just wrapped around her. She looked a goddamn mess. And they told her that she looked like a mix between, oh Lord, who was it? It was Edgar Allan Poe and Carol Channing. Fucking mess. And that's exactly what she looked like. That was RuPaul's fault. I didn't care for that. Um, then we went on to Kelly Mantle had this ugly red, this red, real cheap plastic wig. It had that very much fresh out of the bag. Had never been combed thing. She had just come from downtown at Lulu's wig shop and was given and put the wig on, and that was it. That looked awful for television. Very cheap looking, and she was supposed to be doing Downton Abbey. I don't know what that look was. It just was ridiculous. And like I said, she was fluttering around, giving yes, God, and all this, and I don't know. I just didn't care for it at all. It just wasn't too good for me. I didn't care for it. Gia, Gia did the Kardashians. Adam Lambert was a guest judge, and he hit the nail on the head. He said, "Though I think she's gorgeous, I hated her. I hated her. I hated her personality." Mike Ruiz said the exact same thing, and that's the exact same first impression that I got of her. Very pretty, but I just hate her. There's just, I mean, she's just too much of something. She's just ridiculous. Um, let me go back. Vivacious' walk. They're talking about she had this fierce club walk. Her walk was horrible. I don't know what club or what ball they were at. Her walk was horrible. It was horrible. It was so very arthritic and orthopedic. She was late. She was very, very late. Um, Ben Delacreme had a perfect look. Her look was really, really good. She really draped the hell out of this dress. And she told them she's not a sewer. She basically glued her dress and wrapped it and bumped it up. It was very much her character, which I told you her character is very corny, but it works for her. She was done. She did really well, and she won that challenge as well. It was good. And the bottom two this week was Vivacious and Kelly Mantle. And they actually went back and forth with that Express Yourself by Madonna. And it was underwhelming, to say the least. Because I actually expected the Vivacious, the New York child, I expected that bitch to burn up the runway doing the performance because, again, she's an old queen. She's 40 years old. And I just expected the bitch to have a fierce performance that I thought she would really turn it out. All in all, I have to say, this should have been the first time ever that Rue did a double elimination right in the beginning. Both of those whores could have went home. They were both late, and neither one of them, I felt like, lip synced for their life. He should have did a double elimination, but he didn't. He sent Kelly Mantle home, and Vivacious actually got to stay. So I just have to say, season 6, episode 1, Rue, these next 7 whores that you bring out next week had better do a little something better than this. Or I can imagine that when it comes to RuPaul's Drag Race for season 6, I'll be like watching the beginning of the show and then walking around in the kitchen for the other half because I was really underwhelmed, especially after I have waited all this time. But I think, and I hope that the next 7 girls is going to give me a little bit more that will keep me engaged. I didn't even watch Untucked. They did the Untucked afterwards. I was so done with those 7 whores that I didn't even want to be involved with the Untucked part of the show. So we're hoping for a better week next week. And again, this is my opinion. I'm just saying. My name is James Caldwell. I'm going to sign off here and feel free to leave comments. You know, I love to hear from you guys. I love to hear what you're thinking. I love to see if you could actually change my mind. If you're thinking something different, maybe you change my mind when you leave your comment because I'm always open. You know, I don't know everything. And sometimes you all have been really good and be able to make me look at things a little bit different. I doubt it about these seven horrors, but we'll see. Leave your comments. I love to know what you're thinking. I will talk to you guys really soon. Bye bye now.